So the first question, as the co-creator of the show, can you tell us briefly how it got started and an overview of the show as well?
This really, the birth of Phineas and Ferb was Dan and I, Dan Povenmire, literally one of the most talented people I've ever had the privilege to work with in this industry. We're trying to figure out a way that we could keep working together. We were working together on another show where we were writing and directing and writing songs together, and we thought, well, if we create a show, we can sell this show, we'll keep working together. It was such a simple idea. It just took us 13 years then to actually sell the show, and in that time we didn't work together at all. And the idea of it was something that was born a little bit out of that middle-aged man's rant of kids today. They just sit in and play video games and watch, movies on television. They don't get out and do things. And we loved our childhoods where we were encouraged to go out and make the most of every day. And we made movies and put on plays and built tree houses and go-karts and did all kinds of wacky things. And we wanted to celebrate that with Phineas and Ferb. The idea was to have these two kids that, got out and did stuff and built stuff and made stuff and just weren't inhibited by, physics or reality. And that was where it came from.
And so Mission Marvel is the first Disney and Marvel crossover. How did that come about?
Well, we started thinking about it the moment we heard that that Marvel had become part of the Disney family. But we didn't get the call till a couple weeks later, I think, when our boss Eric called and said, would you guys be interested in possibly doing a Marvel? We're like, yes, we would. It was just, it was very intimidating. We're all Marvel fans. Our whole crew is filled with Marvel comic book freaks.
Sure.
And I mean freaks in the nicest possible way. But because of that if you don't get this right, you'll hear about it from the fans loudly.
Yeah.
And my fear was that we may not have enough time or resources to navigate some very tricky waters and a whole new set of executives to be able to make a show that had the humor that we loved and was protective of our characters, but also was very protective of the Marvel characters and didn't derive humor by poking fun at them or mocking them. They had to be who they were. And we went and asked for a lot of extra resources. And thankfully the network said, you got it. And the Marvel guys had never seen our process, which is very free form. We don't do a script.
Right.
So they had to have a lot of faith in the direction we were going, because our show kind of looks like this crazy amoeba for a while until we get right down to the end and it all becomes solid. So there was weeks and weeks where we had to keep saying, don't worry, we're heading in the right direction, this is our process, have faith in us. And they did, and their response at the end was so overwhelmingly positive. And the show turned out so much better than even we thought it was going to. So we have to thank the people that had the vision to A, give us the resources that we asked for, and the support that we needed and the extra personnel, and the faith that Marvel had to place in us, that we were going to get there in the end, be in the right direction, and it would be something they would also be proud of.
Right.
So, yeah.
So how much creative freedom did they give you with the characters themselves? Were they very sort of hands-on with that, or did they let you do your thing? And
no, mostly what it was is them doing their job. There was a lot of input, but it wasn't, obstructionist in any way. There was just this desire that they had to make sure that we got their characters right. Fortunately, it wasn't a fight on our end. We're like, oh no, we're with you. We don't want to do anything that doesn't get these characters right. We have to stand behind this, and we're going to Comic-Con shortly. And we have to stand up and take questions from these fans, so it better be something that we can stand up in front of and be proud of in the way we handled these characters. So all of that, all of the extra eyes and the extra executives were really only making sure that, we had the information that we needed to get the characters right, that we knew who they were. And these characters evolved through time. They gave us experts who really knew where everybody was right now and how they interconnected and how those worlds work. And it was tricky, and without them we wouldn't have been able to have the freedom to explore some of the comedy that we did and some of the story turns that we took. Otherwise, we'd have been flying blind, and it would have taken us an eternity to get it right.
Now, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is obviously a fantastic supervillain himself. How does he get involved in the story?
Well, he actually has a device that misfires and happens to have a strange interaction with the device that Phineas and Ferb have made,
Right.
which causes it to drain the powers from the superheroes. So Phineas and Ferb are inadvertently involved in that happening.
Yeah.
Doofenshmirtz finds out about it and happily goes on and blogs about it on the internet because, you know, he likes to toot his own horn.
Sure.
So the supervillains pick up his blog entry and figure that he's this super mastermind who's created this device that drains the power. The superheroes figure out where the beam has come from through Nick Fury at S.H.I.E.L.D. and arrive at Phineas and Ferb's door to find out why they did this, which is a mystery to Phineas and Ferb. So they have to figure out a way to get the superheroes their powers back.
Right.
While the supervillains show up and learn that Doofenshmirtz is, in fact, not this wonderful creative genius, but just sort of an idiot. But they need him to build the device. So there's this uneasy partnership between them.
Right.
And that's where our story takes place.
That sounds fantastic. So which superheroes and villains can we expect to see?
We got Iron Man,
Yeah.
Thor, Spider-Man, and the Hulk, who all go to Danville. On the villain side, we have Red Skull, MODOK, who was tons of fun to work with because he's just one of the weirdest characters ever. Giant floating head with tiny legs. Whiplash and Venom. We got to do some fun casting. Two of the characters, because we used all of the Marvel voices, the real cartoon voices. Two of the characters hadn't been cast yet, and one of them we got Danny Trejo from Machete to be Venom.
Fantastic.
Who was the most fun to work with ever. One of the most visually intimidating people you'll ever meet, but one of the sweetest dudes. Very much a risk taker. Had a lot of fun with the role. And Peter Stormare,
Right.
stunning guy who came in and did Whiplash for us. Who's just a wonderfully wacky dude. And we also got the great joy of having Stan Lee come do a cameo.
Oh, really? It's very cool.
I got a picture with Stan.
Have you?
Oddly enough, wearing white shoes and white trousers like I am today.
That's your inspiration,
Two of us
right?
in the white pants and white shoes club. It was very cool.
I'll be wearing that tomorrow.
Excellent.
So, in addition to being very funny, Phineas and Ferb also has some great music in there. Can we expect to see the Incredible Hulk showing off his untapped vocal
We didn't
talent?
have them sing,
Right.
but there are some really great songs in the show.
There is.
There's a great song for Doofenshmirtz and the evil villains as they go wandering around town. They're trying to suck up to Doofenshmirtz by doing all the petty little criminal things that Doofenshmirtz likes to do to get even with people. That's one of my favorite songs. And there's a really great song as a duet with Candace and Isabella,
Right.
who end up feeling a little out of place through most of the episode because it's all these guys. As Isabella says, none of the female superheroes showed up, so it's all this guy stuff and, powers. And Candace, who just can't seem to get it right. We find out that Candace is actually a big superhero fan and has written some fan fiction about Thor, which she can't get them to read. And there's this just really lovely song between them. So yeah, the music in it's terrific.
Now, Phineas and Ferb are always trying to have the best day ever. What would be yours?
I had a pretty good day the other day. I went down and hung out with the Top Gear guys and watched them film a show.
Very cool.
But I think my best day is I'm torn between a really great surf day or actually getting to drive a Formula One race. Because I think if I couldn't be an animator, I probably would have spent my life trying to become a race car driver. So that would be fantastic.
Sounds pretty good.
See, somebody else I want on the show is Jensen Button one day.
Yeah?
Big fan.
Have to make that happen. And so now that we've had the Marvel characters in Phineas and Ferb, can we expect to see Perry the Platypus in Avengers 2 maybe?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
I think that's only fair. So to all the guys that are making the next Adventures movie, call us. We can get you a platypus.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.